Today's going to be a very different day for me. In the middle of this long stretch of pandemic days, for so much of the past 5 months, every day has pretty much looked the same. I don't know if that's your experience, but it's been my experience. And when I finish the service this morning, I'm actually going to go to the airport. I'm going to fly to Seattle. And just like most of you, I haven't traveled anywhere since February. And the idea of getting on a plane is a little bit unnerving and a little bit exciting too, right? The pattern's going to be broken, so I get a little bit excited. So for my lesson today, I want to talk about how flying on an airplane is kind of like living from a spiritual perspective. And I've been told that I can make a lesson out of anything, and so let's see if that's true. But first, let me introduce you to the international theme for the Centers for Spiritual Living all around the world. We have a theme every month, and the new month of September, we have a new theme. If you've seen the slides and the newsletter and stuff, or your spiritual journals, maybe you have the spiritual journals, our monthly theme for September is Facing the Fear. And again, I find it remarkable that these monthly themes were picked out more than a year ago, but maybe the greater truth is that no matter what may be going on in the world, a theme about facing the fear is good no matter what year it is, right? And what better place to explore the idea of facing your fear than in your spiritual lessons, right? So one of the things that we have to accept as being a human is that we are vulnerable creatures. We're vulnerable creatures. And that we all face what I call the big mama jama fear, the fear of death. And here lately, we've been faced with health concerns and scary news stories for months now. And I think we all realize that no matter how strong and healthy we are, things can change pretty quickly, especially in a pandemic. So we're being called to face the fear on a daily basis. So for me personally, I'm extremely grateful for my faith right now. And I trust that you're here this morning in a spiritual community to be reminded of your faith too. So let's do that. Let's remind ourselves of our faith. And I want to start with a reminder of what faith actually is. If you know the author Khalil Gibran, he wrote The Prophet. He writes beautifully. He wrote this about faith. He says, faith is a knowledge, and he capitalized that K, which is interesting. Faith is a knowledge within the heart, beyond the reach of proof. I love that phrase so much. I made it my top title today. Beyond the reach of proof. Faith is a knowledge within the heart, beyond the reach of proof. And what I know in my heart today as I live my life as a human being, as I board this plane that is beyond the reach of proof, what I know is that I am an incarnation of the infinite spirit. Do I have scientific proof of that? No, but I have a knowledge in my heart that goes beyond the reach of proof. I have faith. What else do I know within my heart today? I know in my heart that my life is unfolding for me perfectly in every moment. I believe that my soul is in charge of my life, and that whatever unfolds for me on this trip to Seattle or in my life in general, it will be exactly what I need for the trajectory of my growth and my evolution as a spiritual being. I have that faith. What else do I have faith in my heart about today? I have faith that I will encounter the right and perfect people on my path. I have faith that if there is an obstacle, there will be a solution. I have faith that whatever I need will be supplied. I have faith that the universe is conspiring on my behalf to give me the experiences that bless me. I also have faith that I'm an intelligent human being and that I can find a solution for any problem that I may encounter. And to face the fear, I also have faith that if my life as a human being ended today, the energy that is who I actually am simply transitions to another dimension and will take form again, should that be necessary for my evolutionary process. And that is beyond the reach of proof, but that is a knowing in my heart. In the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes points out that faith is not just about religion. Faith isn't just about religion. We all have faith in something. Some of us have faith in medicine. Some of us have faith in our fellow man. Some of us have faith in our own abilities. Some of us have faith in spiritual principles and laws. Each and every one of us has faith. We just have to be aware of where we have placed our faith. Because what I know is that there's a whole bunch of life that goes on beyond the reach of proof. Sometimes I think a better word for faith is trust. The question becomes, what do you trust? I absolutely trust the universe around me is a friendly universe. And I do trust in spiritual principles. And I trust myself. The Science of Mind emphasizes that in order to have faith, we must have a conviction that all is well. That's what he says in the book. We must hold a conviction that all is well, and we must hold that conviction in our beliefs and in our acceptance of it as truth. Ernest Holmes talks about the fact that when we allow anything to enter our thoughts, which destroys our conviction that all is well, our faith is weakened. When we allow anything to enter our thoughts that shakes that conviction that all is well, then our faith is diminished. To quote Ernest Holmes directly, he says, faith is an affirmative mental approach to reality with a capital R. It's a mental approach. So as I step into the airport this afternoon, I gotta hold my conviction that all is well. I must hold my affirmative mental approach as I head out on this trip. I gotta move confidently in the direction I intend to head and know that my consciousness goes before me and prepares my path for me. That is living in faith. But this is not new for me. This isn't new for me. I traveled for a living for 10 years. I was getting on at least 2 planes a week and sometimes 4 or 5 planes every week. And when I first began to travel, I had a little trepidation. You know, I didn't have much faith in the whole travel experience when I first started. You know, as an infrequent traveler up to that point, I had so many questions that revealed to me my fears that I had to face if I was going to fly every week. You know, was it safe? Would the tight schedules work? Would the plane be clean? You know, could I figure out everything involved? Had the airline prepared for all of us, right? Would there be enough of everything for me and for everyone else? You know, all the typical questions that come up for the unseasoned traveler were my questions. My fears were pretty common. But over time, over those 10 years, actually it didn't take me that long, but over time, I relaxed into my faith in the entire process. I learned to relax on the most turbulent flights and feel safe. I learned to trust that the airline would get me home if a flight was canceled or if I missed my connection. I began to have faith. I began to understand the systems that were in place, and I worked with them. I began to see my fellow travelers as allies and not just competitors for that little tiny bit of overhead space that there is, right? I overcame my fears, and my faith in the whole process grew. The difference between a regular traveler and the occasional traveler is very evident when something unexpected happens, right? Nothing exposes the level of faith in a traveler like the unexpected. You know, the regular traveler will have faith that everything's going to work out okay. The unseasoned traveler has just wring in their hands and they haven't had enough experiences to comfort them. The regular traveler kind of remains calm most of the time and just kind of eats their peanuts through the whole thing, right? Whatever unexpected thing is happening on the plane, they just keep eating their peanuts. And I think that that's kind of true about all of life, really, going far beyond the example of traveling, right? See, we're all life travelers, so to speak. We all have a perspective that we choose as we travel through our days in this lifetime. And some of us have traveled on the spiritual path for a very long time, actually. And we would call ourselves like regular travelers or frequent spiritual flyers, right? And the more of life that you've faced on a spiritual path, the less rattled you are when things go in an unexpected way. If you seem to have missed your connection, you have confidence that all is well, and another plane's coming, or another path will be revealed. If the bottom seems to drop out of the very sky you're flying in, you just kind of cinch your seatbelt just a little bit tighter and know that you will reach your destination just fine one way or another. When you've had enough experience growing your faith in life itself and God itself, when you see that the universe is always maintaining balance and order, when you understand your place in the grand scheme of things, faith is easier to maintain, but I must say it takes conscious effort and dedication. And I've got to also say, in this current environment, I am very grateful for my faith and for my years of experience in walking a spiritual traveling path. I'm grateful for the routines that I have set up to bolster my faith. As a frequent airline traveler, I knew I had to do my part to align myself with the flow of everything happening around me in a life of airlines and airports and shuttles and ticket agents and all that. And I think that is required as a spiritual traveler too. So let's talk about that. As a frequent traveler, I had to know what time my plane was scheduled to leave. I had to know what was required to check in for the flight in order to have a smooth experience. I had to understand the size and the number of bags I could carry on. I had to show up on time and be prepared to do my part to ensure that things would go well for me. And I had to stay informed of anything new that was going on around me. I remember when the TSA, you remember when the guy had like fluid in his shoes or something, or I don't remember what happened, but all of a sudden you couldn't carry liquids on a plane, right? Suddenly, the way we've been traveling for years was changed, and everyone had to adjust. I still encounter people who don't know you can't take a ginormous bottle of shampoo on the plane, and they get all bent out of shape when they're going through the security and they have to throw away a brand new bottle of shampoo. They just get so upset, and everyone going through the lines has the very same requirements, the very same rules. And those of us who are aligned with all of that and have prepared for that and understand the laws and principles just smoothly go through security. And then there are the people that aren't aligned with it, don't know what's going on, and they're over there just throwing things away, and they're I almost said a bad word. They're just fussing. They're fussing. They don't understand why they were singled out for this horrible experience. They weren't aligned with what was going on. Every day I have informed myself about what to expect today too, right? I know that I gotta wear a mask and I gotta stay socially distanced. I can't switch seats on the plane. Even if there's a good seat open, I can't switch seats. I've learned by email yesterday that they now have new identification readers at many airports. I don't know if Tampa's got them yet, but no one's going to touch your driver's license. You're going to stick it into some kind of machine or something. I don't know. But I prepared in advance to be in alignment with all these expectations. So if I encounter something unexpected, I can be better equipped to handle whatever happens. I have routines set up to support this as a traveler. I check into my flight as early as I can. I read the notifications. I actually read what the airline sends me prior to my trip in case things have changed. I show up at the airport in advance, not in advance enough. People who've traveled with me know I cut it pretty close. But I show up in advance. I have my boarding pass printed or on my phone or whatever. I do everything I can to help myself. I must first understand that I have done everything I need to do to ensure that all is well. Whatever's within my sphere of control, I've got to make sure I did my part. And I can carry that faith forward with me and trust that I'm in alignment with whatever else is going on around me too. It's no different spiritually. It's no different spiritually. What routines do you have set up for yourself as a spiritual traveler to prepare yourself for the unexpected in your daily travels? What are you doing on a regular basis to face and release your fears in life? I recommend that you check in with your highest self every single day as early as possible. First thing in the morning. Prayer and meditation and some sort of inspirational reading are wonderful ways for you to set yourself on a course of knowing that all is well. I recommend that you close your day out with gratitude and forgiveness work to keep yourself aligned in your faith that all is well. Despite the chaos of the day, I still have things that I'm grateful for that all worked well today. I recommend that you kind of check your spiritual seatbelt throughout the day to make sure that you're buckled in. Because there's going to be turbulence. We're human beings. Do your part to prepare yourself, to remind yourself that all is well within your own being. You know, I don't understand the science of aerodynamics. I really don't. But I make sure I'm surrounded with pilots and flight attendants and other people who do understand how the plane actually works. They understand the reach of proof that really is there in the world of flying. Because I gotta have a knowing beyond the reach of proof because I don't understand it every time I get on a plane. And in my life, I do my best to understand the spiritual laws involved in life, but I surround myself with teachers and ministers and practitioners who get it beyond my level. Then I do it as much as possible because they've proved these principles for themselves. They've piloted their plane through some rough stuff. I want to hang out with those people. They can remind me when things get shaky that this stuff really does work. It helps me spiritually traveling with others who are trying to have a similar flight experience and go to similar destinations that I want to go. You know, I love it on a plane when I see someone help another person who might be scared or unsure to calm down or point out the easiest way to solve a challenge on board the plane. And I try to remain friendly and open myself in reassuring other people when the turbulence gets bad or whatever, to share my knowledge and experience. And that goes for my frequent flyer status spiritually too. You know, it's why I became a minister in the first place. I want as many people traveling with me as possible, and I want them to be filled with faith and confidence all around me. Nobody wants to be on a plane full of people freaking out. It's no fun. You want to be in a section where people know what's going on. And eventually, our faith becomes our knowing. The more we step into action guided by our faith, the more our experiences will show us that all is well. And because now that I've been traveling by airplanes regularly for 16 years, I step forward in knowing that all will be well, you know, no matter what happens. And I've been flying spiritually for about 20 years, and I can step forward in knowing that all is well, no matter what happens. I've been in enough dodgy situations on planes to know that having faith in a higher power is universally helpful. Having faith in divine spirit, regardless of your belief system, regardless of the spiritual path you're walking, it has measurable positive impact. You can measure that someone who has faith is living better, regardless of the religion people are aligned with. They live longer lives, they have lower blood pressure, they have lower rates of anxiety and depression. People who are aligned with faith report feeling less alone, having more purpose in their lives, and are more hopeful about the future. And I've seen that show up around me, haven't you? It doesn't really matter what the faith is. If they're aligned with a higher power and have faith, they're living life more comfortably. You know, Randy posted a meme with this quote on it, and maybe this week or last week he said, "Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase." Faith is taking the first step. I can't see the whole staircase of my day to day. I can't predict the weather elements that might be a part of my experience. I don't know the pilots that'll be flying the plane. I don't know the health of my fellow travelers today. I don't have proof of any of those things, but I have a knowing in my heart beyond the reach of proof that that staircase is going to show up. I just got to take steps. And I'm taking a broader look at our lives. We're living in a time when we have had to give up the illusion of thinking that we could see the whole staircase of our lives unfolding in front of us. You know, I don't know about you, but this year has dismantled any idea that I had about holding the image of the staircase of my life stretched out before me. It's just not happening. And I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone. I've talked to enough of you to know I'm not alone. We each thought we knew what this year would hold for us. But we have watched that staircase kind of evaporate. And it's brought up a lot of fear in people. So the faith that I'm exercising today is twofold. I have faith in the airline industry and the systems that I've been participating in for a very long time, and I have spiritual faith that all is well in the bigger picture of my life. And on that front, I want you to join me in facing our fears and picking up our faith. My bottom line is illustrated by this quote from Ernest Holmes himself. I live in the faith that there is a presence and power greater than I am that nurtures and supports me in ways I could not even imagine. So let's live a life of faith. Settle within yourself and knowing that all is well. Don't let anything, absolutely anything, interrupt that conviction. Have a knowing in your heart beyond the reach of proof that you are a spiritual being having these human experiences. Align yourself with these spiritual principles and just get on the plane of life and have a great flight. I have a one-sentence affirmation for us this morning. Let's read it together.
Faith supports me through any fear, and the knowing in my heart is that I can fly beyond the reach of proof.
And so it is.